I'm Michelle Graves, your host on today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm glad to have you here. Now, at The Power of Money, we are interested in three things happening. First, we want you to get the necessary education so that you and your family can make the decisions that will impact positively on you in your financial life. The second thing is that you be empowered to prosper. I only want the best for you. And you can only get that if you have education and then the drive to make it happen. And the third thing that is so important to me is that you recognize that life is more than a journey and that you be energized so that you can begin to participate in the truly joyous experience of living. So, here's to empowerment, here's to education, and here's to energy. I'm Michelle Graves, your host, Power of Money, and here we go. And here we go. It's a delight, as always, to be in your homes today, to share with you cutting-edge information to empower you and your families financially so that you can thrive during the difficult days that we are now in. Despite what the statistics are saying, we are in a major shift in our country and in the world. And so I want you to be a successful part of that in a positive way. Now, the Power of Money for this 2019 year is focusing exclusively on entrepreneurship. Those are the visionaries, those are the people that birth ideas and concepts, that take things to the market, and that are responsible for many of your current jobs. They start out small with a dream, they work and scuffle hard, and they make it happen. So, along with my commitment to all of you to change your thinking so that you can look at this as something that you could possibly do, we are bringing in a variety of resources and people to assist you. So if you've made up your mind, whether you're retiring, anticipating retiring, or you're younger and you just want to make a shift because there's a burning desire inside of you to really do something positive, then you want to stay tuned for these upcoming months. I've got an awesome array of guests. But today, my very special guest is a woman that I've had on in the past. She, in my estimation, is one of the top business advisors in the state of Ohio as well as the United States of America. Her clientele expands globally, and I'm just honored to have her in the studio to talk about the fundamentals of going into business. Right, it's not enough to have a dream. You've got to have a plan. And that is something that if you don't have a plan or you don't know how to get a plan, then she is the person that you want to talk to. So for the next two segments of The Power of Money, I will be interviewing Adrienne L, who is the president of Herd Management in Ohio. But as I said, her background is exhaustive and extensive, and she's going to be talking on the first segment today about the strategic plan, what you need to do before you make the leap. Before you do this, these are things you need to know. And then on the second segment of our show, she will be talking about business plans and operating plans. Now, for those of you that say this is not relevant to me, you probably need to listen anyway. Because even if you don't start a business, you still have a business called your home. That's right, what you do in your home is your business. And the same principles ironically apply. You still need to have a strategic plan. You still need to know where you're going. You still need to have a budget. All these things are very critical in the success of a family, but they're also essential in the success of your business. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest today, and I really am going to give her the platform. I'm going to ask questions periodically, but I'm going to be allowing her to teach you these principles so that you can begin to lay a foundation. How are you?
Fine.
It's so good to see you again.
I'm so glad to be back. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Tell our people a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Well, I'm from Washington, D.C. originally. I went to school, undergrad in Michigan at Michigan State. And this does happen to be March Madness while we're recording. Go Spartans. I came to Dayton to pass through. I was getting my MBA from the University of Dayton. And once I got my MBA, I decided to hang around. So I've been here for quite some time.
Yes.
In '93, I worked in corporate America, and I also worked for some nonprofits. In '93, I decided to go out on my own as herd management. And I am a certified business advisor. I've been in business for over 25 years. And often the test of a consultant is if they stay in business 5 years. So I passed the test.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So where do we want to begin today?
Well, first I want to give an overview so that you understand the planning process.
Okay.
And the overview is basically you have 3 plans you have to do. You have to do a strategic plan, and the strategic plan addresses the reasons you're going to do what you're going to do. It looks at your mission, it looks at your vision, what I want to be. It does an environmental analysis. The term they use in the industry is a SWOT, S-W-O-T, where you look at the strengths, the weaknesses, and then look at the opportunities and the threats to decide the best way you can go forward. Once you've done a strategic plan, and this can be for you or your business, then you think about it, and that's called the thought process, is the business plan. You look at this concept you have and you flesh it out. You look at your customer, like who cares about what you're doing? And you look at the capital. How much is it going to cost me? When you do your business plan and your strategic plan overlap. When you do your business plan, it overlaps with your operating plan. And you need to know that your operating plan is you. It talks about the actions you must take with your product, your service, how you're going to promote it, how you're going to market it, who's going to handle the paperwork, the people and procedures. I often caution people that you keep the operating plan separate, your actions separate from your thoughts, because you may end up sharing your business plan with people so that they understand what you're doing. You want to give them enough information so they understand what you're doing, but not enough information so they could take it and run with it on their own.
Is that common? Does that happen?
Yes.
My goodness. Successfully, people can steal your concept.
If I give you all of the information you need to do to run with it,
oh my goodness,
and you have the money and I don't,
done deal.
Done deal.
Business is brutal.
It is. So in each stage, there are 5 things you have to do, no matter which stage you're in. First of all, step 1 is you have to think it through. You have to spend time thinking. You spend as much time thinking as you do writing, because your second step is to research it. The problem happens, I have the thought and I run with it, and I stumble because I haven't done my research. Now that I've thought about it and I've done my research, now I start writing. Now I start writing, because now I'll know that everything works together. After I've written it and I've got my plan there, then I implement it. The next important part is step 5. I evaluate the results. If my goal was to make money, did I make money? If my goal was to serve the community, did I serve the community? If my goal was to survive, did I survive? You evaluate the results of the actions you took. So that's our overview. Now let's get into a little more detail. Talk about, this is part one, we're going to talk about the strategic plan. Remember I said the strategic plan was the reasons you exist, your mission statement, your vision, your SWOT, that's the environmental analysis. The mission is who we are, why we exist. This is why we exist. The vision is what we want to become. If we do everything right, what will people say about us? And then finally, the environmental analysis, the SWOT. The strengths and weaknesses are things that I bring to the table, things that I'm really good at, and things that I said, oh, I'm not too good at this, I need to be aware. The external environment are the opportunities and the threats, the things that I could take advantage of and the things that might trip me up and make me fail. So of course, what you want to do is match your strengths with the opportunities and shore up your weaknesses so that they don't make you stumble. So let's begin with the steps.
Can I go back on
Sure.
this whole thing about a strategic plan? What would your, when you look at that, what does that very simply encompass, just as a one-sentence statement?
Why I exist and why I will succeed.
Okay, viewers, did you get that? When you're doing a strategic plan, and this is pre-business, is that not
Yeah.
correct? Before you go into, I want a building, I want this, I want that, the strategic plan lays that out crisply in your own thinking. And it has been my experience, Adrienne, having worked with businesses, again, for over 3 decades, that this is so often overlooked. I mean, the passion is wonderful. You have to be passionate to want to do this, because it's going to cost you everything.
Yes.
It's going to take numbers. But the failure to lay that foundation of why am I doing this? Why am I really doing this? And am I willing to take the time to do a self-analysis? I mean, it's just been my experience, and you can speak to that before we move on. If you don't know your weaknesses and you go into the marketplace, you can really mess yourself up.
Yes. And you may have a brilliant idea, but it's the wrong time for the marketplace. You have no control over what's going on outside, but you need to be aware of what's going on outside so that you can be prepared.
Okay. So if a business, can you give me an example from your background of where you've encountered a business that had not thought this through and how you were able to help them? Don't start laughing.
I have a person who had money, so they went out and they bought stuff. And they figured if they bought enough stuff, they could have a business.
Wait.
Yeah, because they had some money. They had come into some money. They had inherited some money. And their spouse wanted them to be in business. So they started buying stuff because their spouse wanted them to be in business.
May I ask you, how does buying things put you in business? Were they reselling where they were going to be a retailer?
No, but this is what a business looks like. So I got furniture, I got an office, but what is your business? Who you're selling it to? Why are you going into business? Well, my spouse says we have money, so we should, and money makes money. That's true.
Sometimes.
But what is your money going to do to make money?
Right. So they just they created the illusion of what they thought a business looked like. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
But you don't go into business because I have money, so I want to go into business. That's
not going to work.
No.
No.
They didn't think about it. They didn't research it. They didn't have a plan. They just did stuff because it's fun to do stuff.
Well,
and then when the money runs out,
you can't do stuff anymore.
right.
That's
So
that's
the spouse's
ridiculous.
mission was to look like we would look like somebody.
Ah, so there were other issues going on
The
here
spouse wanted to look like somebody and not work.
and not work.
Right.
And I'm sure you helped them understand.
Right.
that
My client was female, and what she ended up doing is she got out of the lease,
Good.
she kept the furniture, and she spent the money to go back to school and get a master's degree.
That sounds like a plan.
Right. She enjoyed that so much, and she had the money left. She went on and got a PhD, and now she's a college instructor. And
Perfect.
and divorced.
And I was going to say critical D, divorced. Right.
Well, they had
Need to get rid of
different.
that man.
They had different visions.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a stay-at-home husband married to someone who had a huge business, and she wanted to be a college professor.
That's. I guess there's wiggle room in there, but
If they had talked about their vision of what their
Yeah.
future was going to be, possibly. But
Well,
I don't
viewers,
determine your mission. I don't determine your vision. I help you look at your SWOT, look at your environmental analysis, and I help you figure out what we can do to achieve your mission and vision.
right.
But the mission and the vision, that's yours, not mine. That's yours. I just ask the questions. I guide you through the thinking. I guide you through you do the research. I look at what you've written. I ask the questions. Every question, depending on your answer, is the next question. I let you implement it. I help you evaluate the results. So,
Which is whether it's making any
right.
money.
If money may not be your issue. If you are starting a service organization,
Right.
I look to see the goals you had in starting this nonprofit service. Are you
Organization.
achieving the community goals and still making enough money so you can survive? So let's go on and talk a little bit more about the mission statement.
Okay.
The mission statement is just a condensed version of your business definition. It says what you do and why you do it. It tells me these are my customers, these are my markets, these are my objectives, my economic objectives. These are the beliefs and the values, and these are my aspirations. My mission statement, I always know what I'll do and what I won't do. It guides me in making decisions going forward. I decide early what I'm going to do and what I won't do.
Now, as that relates to the infrastructure of this business, is that
Nope,
what?
it's my value system.
Oh my goodness.
You need to know, if you come to work for me, this is the type of people I hire, this is what I want. This is what I'll do for my employees, this is what I won't. When I went into business for myself, part of my value system, part of my beliefs, part of my aspirations was to choose who I could work with.
Okay.
Because I decided that if I got a client that was not going to be honest, if I got a client who wanted to go around the laws, that I wasn't going to have that client. I gave myself permission in my mission statement to turn money down.
Okay. That's a powerful thing.
Yeah. So in your mission statement, you decide up front what your beliefs and values are. You also decide, it's called a USP, unique selling proposition. It's your distinctive competence. What's going to make me different? What's going to be my advantage over everybody else that does what I do? Think about that in your mission statement, because it helps you guide. It helps guide you forward. And in your mission statement, address up front my concern for my employees. Think about it. In your mission statement, straightforward, the nature of my business, my philosophy, and real world actions. What am I going to do? Now my vision statement, my mission statement tells me what I do. My vision statement tells me if I do it right, what will I become? What do I plan to become? I'm starting with these types of customers. What do I want my customers to be? What do I want my markets? What are my economic objectives? My vision is to be known across the country for being a good advisor. Going back to on the mission statement, figuring out what my unique selling proposition, what my competency was that made me different. When I first started, I thought it was because I was so educated and I had so much experience. After 3 years, when I did an evaluation and checked with my clients to see why they referred people to me or why they came back to me, and I was expecting them to say because I was so smart, they told me that what was different about me was that I spoke plain English. So now, when people ask me what's my unique competency, I say I speak plain English.
Which in the business world, the jargon can be overwhelming for those who are not accustomed.
Yeah. USP, well, what that means is what do you do different than everybody else that would make me want to come to you?
Right.
Oh, ROI, this is return on investment. All that means is if I put $1 in, I want to get more than $1 back.
Right. Simple.
Yeah, plain English. So the need for vision is that you have to have a picture of where you want to go. And I spend a lot of time with people on putting this picture together because I want you to think about all the things that you want to take with you in that picture. And think about those things that are not going to help you get to that picture so you can evaluate what you want to do and how you want to proceed.
Okay.
I can't tell you what you want to take with you and what you don't, but I can sure ask you the questions to make you think it through, what you want to take with you and what you don't. And then that's SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis really wants to say, what's the best way to get from where you are to where you want to be? And again, it's an environmental, strictly environmental. It looks at your internal strengths, your internal weaknesses. It looks at external opportunities and external threats. And I like to say challenges.
Rather than threats.
Rather than threats. Challenges. But you need to be prepared to them.
Can I ask you a question on the issue of the SWOT analysis? Because I found that in my own practice to be, and I have to revisit it. I had to revisit it.
It changes.
It changes, it does. But I find that most people who are considering going into business have not given, and this is my opinion, enough consideration for threats in the marketplace, especially as we move into this technological age where things shift.
Yes.
I mean, just as a case in point, if you go to the grocery store, brands that were on the shelf a year ago have been replaced by the grocery store's brand. These are big companies that are no longer able to sell their product on a main retailer's shelves. And ironically, and maybe you'll speak to this, a lot of them are in the Dollar Trees and Family Dollar and
don't forget Dollar General.
Oh, Dollar General. These brands have now shifted because of necessity. They've been pushed out. That is a threat that I'm sure they could not believe was happening. I said I wish I was a fly on the wall in their marketing department because that's a threat that I don't know if they anticipated.
Well, let's talk about another threat that was not anticipated, and it was in the news recently, video stores.
Right. Blockbuster.
Right.
Who would have thought?
They didn't acknowledge, didn't recognize that the way the economy and technology worked was changing. It was going forward. They didn't change their model. And now there's, I think, one left.
I think one. Yeah.
The environment
Change.
for their product changed. Looking at their mission, they should have, what can we do, because the environment is changing. In order to still meet our mission, how do we need to change?
That's so interesting, and I don't want to get off track, but I do know J.C. Penney's is shuttered 27 stores. They struggled.
Based on the way the environment is changing.
Yes.
And what is our mission? In order to keep our mission, how do we need to change?
How do we need to change?
Because we can't change the external environment. The opportunities and the threats, we can't change. How do we change our strengths? How do we address our weaknesses? Keeping our mission in mind, what do we change? I had to change. I had to learn how to do PowerPoint.
Oh my gosh, me too.
You know, back when I started, they just had the little flimsies that
we
you
did.
put on
We put the little overheads, and there we were.
And I said, I would never do PowerPoint. Never say never.
Yeah.
Because everyone else in the industry, it was becoming the industry standard.
And it is.
So beware of what's going on in the external environment. If this is my mission, what do I need to change in order to still achieve my mission based on what my strengths and weaknesses are and what's going on? And I say you need to be aware of your strengths, and you need to be honest. This is where the SWOT analysis is part of your thinking, part of your research. When you research so that you know your real strengths and you can build on them. You can match your strengths with the opportunities. At one time, I dealt with a lot of my clients with small businesses, but I like to live. And small businesses don't always have the money to pay you.
Right.
So I had to look outside and see what opportunities there were. Well, the Small Business Administration provides they pay counselors to work with small businesses. So my mission was to counsel and to make money at it. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nope.
So I made myself available to the Small Business Administration. Small Business Administration pays me to counsel small businesses.
Which is perfect.
They do all the screening.
See.
They provide everything that I need. I just show up, counsel, write a report, and I get a check that doesn't bounce.
Because the government doesn't write bad checks.
So, and I'm still achieving my mission of helping businesses.
Right. But the opportunities in the governmental sector
Yes.
clearly outweighed the opportunities in the small business one-on-one.
Because my internal weakness was that I did not have the resources to counsel small businesses or to compete continuously to get grants to counsel small businesses.
Because they didn't have the capital
to
pay you for the advice they needed. So
but
both
in my
ways.
mission, I still wanted to help small businesses, as well as my primary clients are not small businesses, but they have the same challenges.
Yes, I know they do. That's why I was talking about J.C. Penney, and then I read the other day that Walmart is closing stores, and I'm challenged because I'm trying to figure out who is their competition. And I know who their competition is.
They are their own competition online.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And so I have an online presence now because the external environment is online.
That's something.
The way that the retail industry is meeting those challenges is they are trying to figure out how to make shopping with us a unique experience.
Which I don't know how.
Well, you're seeing the malls that are the ones that are being successful now are smaller malls with boutiques. So it's not a cookie cutter mall. They emphasize come in, have a glass of champagne, walk around. We give you excellent customer service. We will fit something exactly to you. So it becomes more of an experience.
Yes.
And so people will shop for the experience. There's a jeweler in Detroit that, and he actually, you come in and you get a mimosa, which is champagne and orange juice.
Okay, nice.
And they have one person that they pay who is not a sales clerk, but is a socializer. And he's an older gentleman, and he just knows how to make women feel happy. and that's his title. He's a socializer.
Okay.
He creates the experience. He walks you through the store. He says which diamonds you look best in.
Oh my goodness.
And after 3 or 4 mimosas, you forget to haggle about the price.
Brilliant.
But shopping there is an experience.
Yes.
And if you have a pair of earrings that you just simply love, or if you've seen something that you like, you can bring it in and they'll cast it in gold.
Oh, no.
For you. So they'll custom make. That's how they have survived. Because you shop there, you know it's quality, but a lot of people have quality. They compete on the customer service.
So that's on with the actual stand-up stores, not the, because I don't know how you create a unique shopping experience online.
You don't.
It's transactional.
Exactly.
Meaning, I want this, give me that.
Exactly.
If I don't like it, I'll return it. But there's no touch feeling.
So as the external environment changes, you need to look at your mission, look at your strengths and your weaknesses, and figure out how you can change so that the threats or challenges in the external environment don't sink you.
Oh my gosh.
My mission has never changed. The way I achieve it has changed.
And that is appropriate. So what would you counsel, and I'm thinking of a couple of situations that come to mind. These are not small, I mean big companies, but because it's just a baby and it's actually pre-business. But there's a woman that I met when I was on the road, and she made the most amazing pound cakes. Now mind you, I'm from Kentucky. I know about pound cakes and the South, but her pound cake was so unbelievable that I told her, I said, you know what? You need to really look at this closely.
Now let's stop.
Okay.
Does she want to be big?
She did not. I don't even think she's given it enough thought to even think about it. And I thought about it later and said, maybe I just need to order cakes from her and leave it alone. Because if she does not have the desire to really go into business in the traditional sense, then maybe she should just make her wonderful cakes and for the church and friends.
There are Dorothy Lane is in our area is one of them. They will carry locally produced items in their bakery, in their deli. You have to be able to make enough to stock their 2 stores.
Okay. And they will carry it.
It's a locally sourced item. It is properly labeled according to the state of Ohio guidelines for, that is produced in a home, in your home.
Okay. Is that allowable today?
Yeah.
There was a time where it wasn't.
You have to follow specific guidelines.
Okay.
And you have to label that it was produced in your home.
In your home, okay.
So there are specific guidelines you still have to meet. But there is a market for it. However, the person has to decide if they want to take, because having a business is more than just having a product.
Oh my goodness. Can you say that again? Just face the camera and say this.
Having a business is more than just having a product. You come to a business advisor because we're the difference between a plumber and a plumbing business. We expect you to know all there is to know about plumbing.
Yes.
But then we help you with your mission statement. We help you think about your vision statement. We help you with your business plan, and we help you with your operating plan. Most people who have a skill and go into business, administration is not their skill. Most businesses fail because of management. They're mismanaged. There are things that jumped up and bit them that they hadn't anticipated.
Well, I know I was involved in, for many, many years, an international project, and that was one of the challenges, which was I didn't know that I didn't know. Not speaking of me, but I was one of a very few board members that was constantly challenging the CEO in terms of, why did you do that? Why did you do that? And the answer was, it wasn't deliberate.
No.
They just didn't know.
No, and that's where the research comes in, because you've got this thought, but now you do research to find out what you don't know.
So is that why, in many instances, it's better for people that want to go into business as a part of the pre-planning to just buy a franchise and minimize the risk?
The advantage of buying a franchise is that you get the operating plans. You get the actions that you have to follow.
Okay.
But the franchise doesn't have anything to do with your mission or your vision. Now, it could be that when you evaluate your mission and your vision, you determine that a franchise is the best way to go, because in order to reach this, one of my weaknesses is that I don't understand how to run a business.
Right.
But I can follow directions.
But I can follow directions.
So if your weakness is I don't know how to, to plan it, and your strength is I know how to follow directions, then a franchise is the way to go.
Would probably be a better fit. That just concerns me because, as you and I both know, the failure rate.
But you'll pay for it.
Oh, yeah, you will pay for it.
Yeah.
That's business too.
Yeah, you are paying the franchise or franchisor, you are paying them for their expertise.
Right, to keep you from failing.
Right.
And it works sometimes, and sometimes.
You follow, they have developed, and this is part 2, the operating plan, the actions. They've developed action steps for you to follow. And
if you stay consistent with those action steps,
you should succeed.
You should succeed.
Because they've built enough houses that they know how far in advance you need to order the windows.
Okay, that's major though. I mean, it is. I have no interest, as I said, Applebee's is a franchise, and they're going through real problems right now with regard to their franchisees feeling that they're not getting value for what they purchased. So there's no 100% even with that, because you still have to have your core.
You have to do your research on the various franchises that are available to decide which franchise matches your lifestyle, which franchise matches your mission, vision, and which franchise matches the way that you choose to operate. Because one of the challenges with a franchise is when they give you those action plans, you have to follow what they say.
Period.
Yes.
No creativity.
Exactly.
Or
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But on the other hand, you don't have to make mistakes to learn from, because they've made all the mistakes and they tell you if you do this, it should work.
That is extremely important, because I have known people who have run their franchise like a clock, just greased and making money, but they still have to work. It's not that you cruise in.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
Owning a business is work. and it's hard work. And so as part of your strategic plan, when you are developing your mission, your concept of what you're going to do, make sure your concept is something that you enjoy doing so much that you do it for free. Because if you're starting the business, there are times when you might be doing it for free.
Well,
in order to take the income and pay your bills and pay your employees.
Exactly.
The nice thing, though, is when you own your own business and you have thought it through and planned for it, when you do things that make a difference, you get that difference, not the person you're working for.
But you know what, and I say this because with so many people now retiring 10,000 a day, we're in the midst of a major shift. And people say, I want to have free time and I want to do a business. And I said, wait a minute, that's a problem.
Find a business that you love so much that working it is like free time.
Right, right. I think that's a very good statement. But I think that many people have a, I'm not prepared to say unrealistic assumption. I'll give a case in point. Couple retired from a Fortune 100 company, nice lump sum, benefit, pension, all the above. And they want to move to another state and buy a bed and breakfast, and where they can do a hotel type of thing where people can come in and leisure. And a year after they did it, she called me and she was miserable. She was so miserable. It hadn't met their expectations. They weren't getting the number of people coming to the facility. They had to cook meals for lots of people, not just for themselves. They had to keep the place clean, and they had to market. And she just said, you know, we could have made easily on our pensions together close to $10,000 a month and not be bothered. And I told her, I said, not to sound arrogant here, but that was exactly what I asked you when we were talking, which is, do you really enjoy having to work 24 hours a day to create an environment for someone else?
As part of their research,
oh my gosh,
they should have gone to a bed and breakfast and observed the owners, not enjoyed the experience of being there, but observed what the owners were doing.
And the amount of time.
Right. Because I love going to hotels. I would never own a hotel.
Oh, never in life.
No.
No.
But there are people who love it.
Yeah.
You know, you can get a degree in hotel management, or is it hospitality management?
I'm not sure, but I think
but
it's hospitality.
You love it.
Yeah, but they do love it.
No.
I'm clueless because it seems to be a lot of moving parts.
I'm not clueless. I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. I know.
It's not my mission.
Yeah.
It's not my mission. It's not my vision. It's not my strength.
So the back to the basics, which is that you have to lay out as a part of your
strategic plan.
And that is a must.
What is my vision? What is it? What is my concept? Who do I want my customers to be? How much money do I have to invest? How much money do I want to return? But what do I want to look like when I'm finished?
Is it fair to say at this very inception, when a person is thinking about business and looking at the issue of research, and because there's so many things out here today that pull on your thought process in terms of business, you like doing a certain thing. You do. You like photography, maybe.
So if my mission is to have a business doing something that I enjoy and I do well, then I can start with that. I have a client that I am so proud of. He retired but didn't want to retire.
Okay.
So we turned his hobby, which was photography, into a business. And he's doing quite well.
Really?
He enjoyed taking pictures. He'd already invested quite a bit of money in equipment.
Okay.
And he had cash reserves.
Okay, for the downtime. Okay.
Well, when you're getting started and you're doing your you will spend more money getting started when you have no money coming in than at any other time during your business, because everything has to be bought at the same time.
Right.
But his mission, he wasn't ready to retire. He wanted to generate income and he wanted to enjoy doing it.
And he's doing it.
So I said, okay, well, what do you enjoy doing that you can make money at? And he says, well, I take good pictures. I said, okay.
Now, let's talk about that, because
And he honestly did take good pictures.
He does take good pictures.
Yeah, we had to see if he just thought he did or if he
did.
really did. He really does.
So how did you validate that? His perception that he was a good, because it's like a cook. Some people really
he went to class and took classes.
He took
and
classes.
he found a mentor.
Okay. And a mentor, for those who are viewers, is
someone who helps you do better at what looks at what you're doing and helps you do it better. A mentor tells you about the industry. A coach coaches you as an individual. A mentor teaches you about the industry you're in.
Okay.
So he found a mentor who was a professional photographer who did it as a living to teach him about the industry of being a paid photographer.
And did you find that was this whole issue of mentorship, which again has changed over the years definitionally, because when I was much younger, a number of people wanted me to be their mentor, and I declined because it seemed to be an awful lot of work.
It is.
And they weren't talking about my industry, which is financial services and banking. They were talking about their individual industries.
Oh, maybe they wanted you to be a coach. Because a coach helps an individual be a better individual in what they want to do.
And not a
mentor helps you do better in the industry that you're in.
Okay.
So a mentor is industry focused.
Okay.
A mentor could be someone who works in the same corporation.
Okay.
That will mentor you through the levels and the loopholes and the unwritten rules. That's what a mentor does. A mentor is industry focused or corporation focused.
Clarified.
And a coach focuses on the individual.
Okay. And a coach is paid.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Because that's a lot of work.
It is.
Laboring with people. I have friends that are coaches. I admire them because I couldn't do it.
Well, what a coach does, a coach assesses the individual and works with the individual's skills, whereas a mentor tells you the things that you need to know about the industry.
Okay.
Regardless of you as an individual.
Okay. I appreciate that clarification. I didn't mean to get off task, because I know you're dealing with this and we have some things to cover. So what's the next thing?
Well, the next thing is the planning horizons that you need to understand. And a strategic plan is long range. You have short term, what am I going to do in less than a year? That's going to be in part 2, because that's your action plan. The medium range is 2 to 4 years, and that's your business plan. What are we going to do? But the long range looks up more than 5 years, like what am I going to become? That's your strategic plan.
Okay.
The strategic plan says, I want to be in Seattle, Washington.
Got it.
My vision is to be in Seattle, Washington. The business plan tells me how I'm going to get from Dayton, Ohio
to Seattle,
Washington.
Okay.
It looks at, how much gas I'm going to need, where are the various stops I'm going to take, whatever. And then the action plan says, okay, you're going to pack your suitcase with this, and we're going to have the suitcase packed by such and such.
Yes.
We're going to call and make the reservations at these hotels. But the business plan and the action steps don't mean a thing if you haven't figured out where it is you want to go.
Okay. This is amazing. This is such good information. I'm telling you, you told me some things today that I did not know. I'm just being candid with you. I did not know. Viewers, just for your information, one of the marks and characteristics of what I call achievers is the recognition that you don't know it all. Those are your threats, challenges. You don't know it all. So thankfully, we live in a time where you can get it. You don't have to know it all. Just be willing to humble yourself and get the information. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Just get it.
When I'm doing the environmental analysis with someone and we talk about strengths and weaknesses and they say, I don't have any weaknesses. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to work with you.
I know I'm not, because you're crazy.
No, you're just unaware.
Unaware. And in business, unawareness will put you out of business.
Exactly.
You won't even have a chance. Would you give our viewers your telephone number should they want to get a consultation with you?
My telephone number is 937-837-5273. My email address is alheard@HEARD, as in management, G as in good, T as in timely.com.
Now we have the information. You know that as a part of your pre-business planning, that you have to deal with your mission. You have to have a vision. You don't have a vision, the Bible says the people perish. You have to have a vision. And finally, SWOT, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. It's an industry catch-all phrase, but it's essential to the success of your business. Now that you've got this basic information, stay tuned for part 2, where Adrienne is going to talk to me about business plans and operating plans. I'm Michelle Graves, and this has been a delight to continue our conversation about entrepreneurship and leadership in 2019. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you today. Bye-bye.